So I had a request about showing my process of editing my Sony A6000 photos. And of course I can show you this. It's actually quite simple and easy because it is more or less just a preset that I modify for each photo. And I do like batch editing, so it goes a bit faster this way. So first of all, hi, my name is Johannes and I have here a channel on YouTube where I do street photos and some product videos and photos, basically just creative stuff with a camera and sometimes also a little bit of animation and stuff like that. So if you enjoy this, please consider subscribing. That really means a lot to me. And also I've gotten some new subscribers lately, so I just want to say thank you for this. And I've seen that most of my followers are from the US, so I really am sorry for my bad English, because sometimes I really don't understand how my vocabulary can be so bad, and also my pronunciation. I used to think I was good at English, but yeah, trying to do these YouTube videos and speak English, then I have come to realize that I'm not that good. But hey, you gotta practice to be better, right? So I will jump into Lightroom and show you my process, and also I have included my preset that I use to edit all of my Sony photos. I do more or less the same kind of a process if I edit a Sony A6000 photo or a Sony A7iii photo. So the first thing you do, of course, is to open up Lightroom. Then we need to find a photo that we should edit, and I think we will just go back to one of these A6000 photos that I did share in the latest street photo video POV I did, and we will find a photo that I think is a decent one, and then we will edit that. There's a particular one I really like with the guy biking. ¿A dónde está la fotografía? So I found the photo here, and just before I go into resetting this photo, I think we can see what I did here. I mean, I've done the edit, of course, and have just done a basic 4x5 crop, trying to frame the subject in the best way that I think will suit the photo. We will go on and hit reset, and we will try to see if we can get somewhat close to this. And as you can see, I think the big difference between the photos, of course, there are some color adjustments and stuff like that, but the big difference here is more or less just the contrast. So what you actually could just do if you want to make this a little more interesting is just add some contrast by adding this curve of some sort, which is like the basic way of adding contrast. And then you could perhaps pull up a bit here on the bottom end of the slider to like soften out the blacks. And I mean, this is already way more contrastful and more interesting to look at. And then of course you could like go on and do other kinds of edits that you want to. But this is really not the way that I do this, because I have this go-to preset that I used for the most of the time, and this will also be the way I will edit this, because this was how I did the edit. So what we will do is we will go to my go-to preset and we will apply that. And as you can see, it has already done a lot of contrast adding, and also of course it has done something to the colors. So what I do from here usually depends, of course, on the photo. Sometimes I will need to adjust the temperature, because the photo can look a bit strange if it has a different kind of color temperature. So I will try to adjust this. It can look a bit too blue, as you can see here, and it can also be a bit too warm for my taste. I actually think that this was more or less good as it was. I might just add a little bit of warmth to get some of the blue out of the pavement, because yeah, I don't like that. Then, and I mean, it really depends on the photo, my process here, but what I like to do is I like to enable these profile corrections. And you see I shot with the Sony E35mm. It really doesn't correct that much, but if you go to the transform tool to correct this, then it can help out in the correction of the photo. And I like to do this because usually what you want is a straight horizon, because that will just make the photo look more like how you look at it with your own eyes, because most of us look straight at the horizon when we look at stuff, unless you have one leg that is longer than the other. But yeah, I don't blame you for this if that is the case. Jokes aside, I will probably try to look at the photo and see if I want it to have more exposure or less exposure. And I think that what you will learn when you edit photos like this is that you should not be too afraid of dark spots. When I started out, I always wanted my whole picture to be evenly exposed, to have a lot of exposure on it. And then you take out the shadows, and then you take out the contrast. And if you do that, then the photo, in my opinion, becomes less interesting to look at. So that is not really the best thing to do. Anyway, I would probably go ahead and add some exposure to the photo just to lighten up the subject a bit. And what you see now is that more of the photo around the person becomes too light. And I will counter do this by using the burn radial filter, and I will just smack it around the subject here, and I will invert it. And sometimes I will shape it in another direction. Depends on the photo. I think here we are shaping the light to follow the road, which I think is a good idea. Might be good to adjust some of these settings here, but for now I will just leave it like this. What I also like to do is to use the linear filters, and I will just again try to direct the light a little bit towards the subject. Sometimes I do this from the top as well, but I don't do this all the time. So yeah, it really does not make that big a difference here, but perhaps if we turn down the highlights a bit, you can see on the top, if you want to add some cloud texture, then you can turn down the highlights, and if you just wanted to have a less white sort of sky, then you could leave it. I think I like a little bit of blue on the top. And I mean, this was shot doing golden hour, blue hour in a shady area, so this is a really easy photo to edit because it already has this diffused light that will make the lighting look pleasant. So there's not a lot to do. And yeah, I will just press R actually, and 5x4, sorry. And then I will press X to change this direction, and then you can crop in. And I actually think that it would be nicer to crop this out because this is kind of distracting me. You could remove this in Photoshop, or try to remove it here in Lightroom, but I will just do something like this. And I mean, that was basically it. So this is really the basic way I go about editing photos like this. And I think I will try to find another one. I think I will go to this, Le Tour de France, because as you may know, we had the Tour de France here in Denmark, and I was of course out taking some photos, which was actually not that easy. But this day was also like a rainful, moody day, so again it made the editing part easier. But as you see here, this is the original photo, not a lot of contrast, and the colors also are a bit dull and not that saturated. And as you can see, I haven't really edited that much, the settings stay the same. I've changed the temperature, haven't touched the colors. And that's basically it. And then of course I have to crop the photo, and I have changed the transformation. And that's more or less it. And here I did use the manual transform tool because the auto version didn't really work that great. I have another photo here where the light wasn't that diffused because it was at a bright sunny day at the beach where the light did a lot of reflection on the water and on the sand. So we can go see how I would apply the preset here and adjust the settings according to this kind of setting. This was taken with the A7 III, but the correction adjustments, they apply just the same. So in this one I have used another preset. I think this is totally because of the way that the light was this day. I really didn't like the preset, my go-to preset on this one. I think it made it a bit too orangey, but let's just try it for fun, adding the preset again. And here I think I would try to adjust the temperature a bit. And I'm really looking at her face right now because I want her skin tones to be more or less correct. That's how I remember her skin tone to be. I think this is getting pretty close. So yeah, again, this would more or less just be it. By using this preset, perhaps I could consider adding the profile correction, but I actually think I like it more without, because I think it makes her face a bit more skinny, and what girl does not want to be looking more skinny? I think I will keep it like this, and more or less the thing I will do again is adding some sort of mask to change the way my eyes are drawn to this photo. And I will again, I think I will do like the same as before, like rotating it a bit, lead it towards her, and I think I will try to take the highlights down a bit, like so. Let's see, I don't think you actually need these, might be too much, but yeah, I don't know what you think. And this would more or less just be it then, because this is a face shot or a headshot. I would go about and edit her face. And normally I would do this in Photoshop, but as I have shown in another video that I will link to right here, then you can also go ahead and do this in Lightroom. But of course I will not do this now because I have already shown you how you can do this. But if we go back to the original photo, it has a totally different look to it. And actually I think at the moment I would like this a bit more, but yeah, that's how it goes when you edit. Sometimes you like a certain look or a color, and sometimes you like another. But yeah, just remember what the most important thing is to do here is to make sure you add some sort of contrast, and then use radial filters and linear filters to keep the viewer's attention towards the point you want to have in the photograph. You can also go and play with the sharpness sometimes if you want to. I actually did this with one of the Tour de France photos. Let me just quickly go to it so I can show you what I'm talking about. Because as you see, this is a Danish bike rider named Magnus Kort, who won a stage the other day. And yeah, this is the export that I have posted on Instagram. But this is the original here in Lightroom after I have edited the colors. And yeah, what I really didn't like too much about this was that he kind of blended in with the background, because I used a bit higher aperture, as you see up here. Because when I was shooting these photos, I wanted to make sure that I got him in focus, which was really hard because they came with like 30 kilometers around this corner and they were just gone. And I used a lens with a long zoom length. What I'm saying is that here in post, I've added a bit of sharpness on him because he was not completely in focus. So I went to Photoshop, and yeah, as you can see, I've unsharpened or make the background a bit more blurry because I wanted him to stand out more. So I have done the thing with the light where I direct the light towards him and make other parts of the photos a bit more darker, but also I have made him a little more sharp, and then I have made the background a little less sharp or blurry, as you may say. So again, this is all about attracting the eyes of the viewer towards the part of the photo that you want to. As always, I will ask you to subscribe to this channel because it really do help a lot for me to make this channel into a little community, and it motivates me to make more of these videos, of course. So please go ahead and do this if you like this video or could use it in any way. Also, make sure to leave a thumbs up and comment if you have any questions. I always try to help people who ask me anything here in the comment sections. And if you have another kind of video that you would like me to make, please let me know, and I will probably make it for you in a day in the future. This will be it for now. Take care, my friends. I will take a last sip of this coffee before it gets cold, and then I will see you around in the next video. So, bye.